this week's Torah portion, the Jews finally got out of Egypt. And Pharaoh said, go ahead, leave. He wants them out. Actually, that all the Egyptians, they gave jewelry and gold and silver to the Jewish people just to get rid of them, because they said, we don't want them here anymore. And they left with money, which is unbelievable. So they went on the road. And the greatest miracle, we all know what God did when they came to the river Nile. God split the river and made dry land, and they're able to walk over the land. So what's next? Indeed, Pharaoh said, oh, I'm so sorry, I sent them out. Let me go catch them. So he took about 50 chariots and put the men there, and they ran after the Jews. When they came to the same river that got split, God put the water back on the river, all on top of the Egyptians, and they all died. And the Jews were now on the way to their promised land, which God promised them. They were in the desert, 40 years in the desert. So now they started complaining, dear God, we don't like the food, there's no food. Dear God, the water is bitter. We don't like this, we don't like that. Can you imagine? They complained after all the miracles. So God said, all right, I'll make the water sweet for you. The next thing, you want to know what I'm going to do for you? I'll give you food from heaven. I'm going to send down every day manna from heaven. Every day, 6 days. But on the Sabbath, I don't send manna. And on Friday, you'll have to take a double portion, which comes down for you. And you will have every single day manna. But I say to you, if God would have spelled better, manna from heaven could have sent them money from heaven. And they could have had a taxi and get out of there without schlepping 40 years. But they had no money. So they had to eat the manna from heaven on the way. But before they left, God said to the people, I hear that you malign Moses. And you said that Moses killed an Egyptian because the Egyptian was beating up a Jew. No Jew should malign another one and talk evil. Because, why? Because I invented speech for man. Speaking is something that God blew into the nose of people. And when you speak, you have to watch your language. I only gave you speech to do good deeds with the speech. No Russian horror. So what happened when they had the Bill of Rights? They said freedom of speech. Very nice. And afterwards, in 1977, approximately, they came out a new law in America that you have a right to remain silent. If you're accused of something, a crime, the Miranda law says you have a right to remain silent. That was a big thing. Can you imagine? Giving you the right to speak, to remain silent. So God said, do not speak evil of other people, because that's like killing someone. But he become mad that they spoke bad about Moses. So when I say one joke, this man said, I never repeat evil language. Call it Russian horror. I never repeat evil language. And he said, what? You don't repeat evil language? He said, no, I only say it once. Very funny, very funny. So what happens? So they ate the manna, and they're in the desert, and soon they will come to the promised land. But one time, they always complained to Jews, so one time they got happy. God has given us so many miracles, and they took a tambourine. Who did that? Her name is Miriam. The sister of Moses had a tambourine, and she danced. We all know about it. She danced with all the women, dancing and singing. God is up, God is good. And they all sang and danced because of what God did for us. But I couldn't find a tambourine. Somebody made this for me. I call up a surrender, we made our goyim. This is the greatest thing. I have good friends, you see. So now what happened, but I was married 40 years. So I sent an invitation for the anniversary. I have been in the desert with my husband 40 years, but I have not seen the promised land. He never gave me the promised land. So when I was married, so it shaped up that I was married, how many years? 50 years. So what did I do? From 50, I married my husband again. I made a whole wedding. Everyone said to me, don't you ever learn? You have to marry him again? You're crazy? So I said, those who forget history are compelled to repeat it. So I married him again, and after 50 years, it did work out up to 64 with the same man. Can you imagine? So somebody said to me, you were married to the same man 64 years? I said, oh no, he's not the same man I married. If he were the same man, I'd be very happy. The day he got married,